A very good afternoon, everyone. A personality here with us stands with us today at this intersection. For him, knowledge is not divided into disciplines. It is a single pursuit weaving facts, understanding, and wisdom together. Today, we stand with a personality who reminds us that the laws of nature and mystery of life are not two separate books, but are the chapters of the same book.
As young people, do you like to be enslaved? Yes, how many of you? That's nature. Nature is freedom. Even animals do not like to be caged. That's your nature. Refuse them and be free.
Acharya Prashant is widely regarded as one of the most impactful philosophical voices of our generation. With an online following that exceeds 19 million, he stands not only as a revered spiritual teacher but also as one of India's best-selling authors, with over 160 books to his name. What truly sets Acharya Prashant apart is the seamless blend of rigorous intellect and deep philosophical insight.
It's very natural for a human to exactly do what the society wants. That's what you said, right?
Kathan says it's very natural for a human to do exactly as the society tells him to do. Kathan, then you have a very unnatural being sitting in front of you. It might be normal, it's not natural.
An alumnus of IIT Delhi and IIM Ahmedabad, he also cleared the UPSC Civil Service examination with an impressive All India rank of 184, choosing none other than physics and mathematics as his optional subjects. His unique path has earned him numerous accolades, from the IIT Delhi Alumni Association for his contributions to national thought and ethics, from PETA India for being one of the most influential voices for veganism, and from the Green Society of India for his leadership in environmental consciousness. Through his life and work, Acharya Prashant continues to bring timeless wisdom into the context of today's pressing realities, offering a rare confusion of clarity, passion, and action. Now, I welcome our director, Professor O.R. Jaiswal, to say a few words.
On behalf of NIT Goa, I welcome Acharya Prashant to this campus. Acharyaji's efforts and listening to him will certainly help you to look at the things from altogether different point of view, from a new dimensions, from a new perspective, and will be of immense help to all of you. In all of our life, if sometimes some incident becomes a path-breaking, path-changing type of thing, watershed moment. So one effort in that direction for all of you, and I'm sure all of us will get benefited by this. And with those initial words, I will felicitate him.
Now I call upon on stage our esteemed guests, Sir Acharya Prashant and our Professor O.R. Jaiswal for felicitation.
Typical Indian vastram, call it in South India. Thank you very much for coming and agreeing to be part of this. Our students will get immensely benefit from that.
BTech students? All of you BTech students? Which year? Fourth year.
A very good afternoon, sir. We are extremely honored to get a chance to read your book, Truth Without Apology, before some time of its release. And after reading the book, we really got a good insight about life, about whatever we feel. And it sprung up some of the questions into our mind. So with your kind permission, can we start with the questioning session? We'll ask you some questions about it.
Yes. What's your name, first of all?
Sir, let me introduce you to the panel. My name is Kathan.
Hello, sir. I'm Trishna. I'm Himanshi.
I'm Devika.
My name is Himansh. I am Felix.
Okay.
Sir, can we start?
Yes, definitely.
So, sir, when I was going through the book, there was this one simple quote. It was not exactly a quote, but a chapter heading. It says, continuity, not perfection. Now, this is a very simple sentence, but when I read this, it confused me a lot because it went against whatever I was, let's say, forcing myself to believe in. I'll give you a little context. So this January, we had our college's interdepartmental competition.
Right.
And I came up from my department for the solo dance category. So there was a lot of expectations on me to bring home the title, the winning title. So when I was preparing for the solo dance, for context, I love dancing. Dancing is something that enriches my soul and it lifts me up no matter how bad my mood is going. But during the preparation for the dance, the expectations and this pressure to win slowly started overpowering my love for this craft. So there were points even during the preparation where I felt I'll do this dance tomorrow, like you study for an examination. And that scared me because this was one thing I genuinely enjoyed that was unique to me, and suddenly it was just another thing I had to do. Now, even after I won the title, I did not feel half the happiness I thought I would feel. You know, the yes, I did it moment was not really that big of a deal. Now, even after that chapter of my life ended, I took away that strive for perfection and the stress along with me with every part of my life. So I started stressing myself over every small things, be it something as simple as hobbies or studies. I was like, I have to be good. I have to be perfect. And I set unrealistic standards for myself. And if I failed meeting those standards, I was dejected. I was like, nah, this is not how it's supposed to go. So, sir, like, I want to know, how do you start loving this journey again, like this journey called life again, without making every step you take feel like this test you have to pass and you have to win?
So continuity, not perfection. Standing where we are, how many of us are perfect? Okay. How many of us are definitely imperfect? I am, for one. So what is perfection then for you? If you aren't there, from where does this word come? Do we know something called perfection? Or is it a mere concept, an imagination? Please tell me. Something like perfection would correspond to infinity. You can have a sign, a symbol for it. You can have a theoretical definition. But can you know what infinity is? Can you know? Just because you have a symbol for it doesn't mean that you know infinity, right? Or 0 Kelvin. Theoretically, we know what 0 Kelvin means. But it's not attainable. You can come very close to it, but not really attain it. Getting it? So that's for perfection, which is a concept, an imagination, a thing of mind. And then there is imperfection, which is our breath, our daily life, our movements, our thoughts, our emotions, our actions. No? All of that is steeped in imperfection. So we have a very close relationship, a very clear acquaintance with imperfection. Are we together till this point? We know what imperfection looks like, right? What does imperfection look like? The face in the mirror. That's imperfect. That's how familiar, deeply familiar we are with imperfection. We see imperfection everywhere. Nothing but imperfection, right? So perfection is a concept. Imperfection is the fact of daily life. Huh? And how does this fact feel to you? You wanted to do something in a particular way and you fell short, well short. How did you feel when you were not able to live up to what you really can do during your dance rehearsals or studies or sports or anything? Does it feel good to not be able to match your potential? No. So that's an added thing now. There is perfection of which we really know nothing. It's like the end of the universe, the boundary of the universe. We know nothing of it. And then there is imperfection with which we are always familiar. And this imperfection, now we are adding, does not really feel good. One never feels at rest, satisfied, contented with imperfection, with flaws that could have been prevented. Right? So what would be then your inspiration to reach an imaginary place, a place that is an imagination of the imperfect one? or to see where you are, which is the fact, which is the reality, which cannot be doubted or disputed, and just take the next step. We said perfection is mentation. You think of it. There is perfection somewhere. When I'll be perfect, I'll be like that. How do you know you'll be like that? How do you know that the imagination that you have even corresponds to real perfection, or whether anything called real perfection actually exists? You go to a 5-year kid. He too will have a concept of perfection or infinity or limitlessness. But what kind of concept would that be? That would be the concept of the 5-year-old. So it will be a childish concept, right? Right? This same kid grows up to 15, and now you ask him or her, what does perfection look, feel, touch, smell like? And this fellow, this kid, will now come up with a totally different story about perfection, correct? Because this is now the perfection, the concept, the picture, the image of the 15-year-old one, right? So this perfection that we think of, first of all, we don't know it. Secondly, the imagination that we have of it corresponds to our current imperfect state. So P is FIP. The perfection that we think of is a function of imperfection. Do you get this? Every imperfect person, according to his or her conditioning, thinks or dreams of perfection in his or her particular way. And the way is imperfect because it is the way of the imperfect one. Being imperfect, can you really know anything? And if you cannot really know anything, how can you really dream of something that is actually perfect? You cannot, right? So there is this imaginary star called perfection, and this star keeps changing depending on my own state. If I am 5, this star looks one way, 15, 35, 55. So first of all, it's just too far away. I don't know nothing of it. Secondly, it's very, very ephemeral and it's very subjective. It depends on who I am, and I am imperfect. So should I chase this imaginary ideal called perfection, or should I just look at my current state? And it is my current state that is full of flaws. It is because of these flaws that I want to escape into dreams of an imaginary thing called perfection, right? If at this moment everything is all right, why would you dream of perfection? If at this moment you are perfectly satisfied and joyful, would you dream of a far place called perfection? Does that happen? When you are perfectly okay with things as they are, do you want to dream of some other place? So the whole problem is we are not okay as we are. We are not okay as we are, and that's fine. That's fine. We are not okay as we are. And in this lies the inspiration to get better, to move on. So the reference point is your current condition, not that far off ideal. You cannot say that far off ideal pulls me, because you do not know that ideal. And that ideal is actually nothing but a magnified mirror image of who you are right now. Remember, I is equal to FIP. That far off ideal is just a big amplified, magnified image of who you are right now. So reaching there will not take you away from your current mess. In fact, it is quite possible that perfection, as we dream of it, is a bigger mess than the one we are currently in. It is possible. There are utopias, there are ideals, there are dream states, and history has shown us that men have strived for them, and when they reached there, they found out that this is a bigger mess than the one we escaped from. The reason is simple. The reason is inner. This dream state or situation this utopian system that you want to reach is but a product of your own imagination from your own current imperfect state. So how can your imagination be perfect? So let's drop all that then. Let's just look at how things really are right now. And as you look at them, the more clearly you look at them, the more you say, nah, I don't want it to be like this. I don't want it to be like this. It's impossible to look at how anything is and say, let it remain as it is. If you can honestly look at things, life, movements, thoughts, relationships, anything, if you can honestly look at it, the first energy that rises is of transformation. You say, this needs to change, this needs to get better. And that's how movement can happen. That's how continuous movement should happen. And hence the chapter of the book is titled Continuity, not Perfection. Just continuously keep bettering your current state. Let that be the center from which your improvement comes. Instead, we think improvement will come when we'll have a great dream hanging in the skies and pulling us upwards. No. You'll have to be like a rocket that is launched from the earth using materials of the earth. And then one probably keeps ascending to the sky. But just dreaming of the sky and imagining that some great rope is going to fall from there so that you can be pulled up, that's not happening. Yes, you're saying.
So when you said the next step right now should be towards something that you want to better right now, right? If I want to become a better dancer, and I don't think I'm better of a dancer, right? I'll think about, maybe my flaws and I'll try to better them. But when you said you should take a step forward, most of the times there are multiple directions where we can go, right? So can we look at the ideal, as you suggested, the infinitely tended perfection? Can we move towards it, or do we move towards the most practical path right now?
It's about, it's about seeing things as they are. And then you don't have to decide really which way to go. If you can see how things really are right now, your inner nature is to avoid rubbish. There is this thing within the self that does not like bondages, that does not like filth, that does not like fakeness. If you can just spot it, that is the beginning of your freedom from nonsense. So having spotted it, you won't have to worry, now what is the next step to take? The next step then emerges on its own. Mind you, emerges is not imagined. It emerges on its own spontaneously. But for that, you'll have to be very honest in confronting your current situation. The problem does not lie in that we do not have perfect ideals. No, that's not the problem. The problem lies in the fact that we are not honest enough to look at ourselves as we are. Because reality is sometimes ugly, painful, makes us uncomfortable. So we don't look at our reality. But if you can do that, if you can muster the courage, then the next action doesn't have to be premeditated. Then the next action happens on its own. I'll give you an example. If I am to speak to you or to you, should I have an idea of what I must tell you? Or must I just listen to you carefully? Please tell me. Or I could have a premeditated thing, something like a PPT, and we could project it here, right? And I could say, this is what I have come to deliver. Would you rather like that? Would you rather like that? So that's how ideals are. You already have something predefined. This is what I have to do with my life, my future. So in the morning, the PPT was ready. I knew this is what I need to deliver in the afternoon. And I come here and I deliver it, and I think I've done a great job. Have I? Have I? No. Instead, I choose to come to you and dynamically, spontaneously, in a very living, breathing way, interact with you. Now, how do I then respond? This response is also an action, is it not? From where is this action arising? This is arising just from listening to what you are saying. So you attend to the present, the fact, as it is. As it is. And when you spoke, did you tell me of your perfection? You told me of your struggles. You told me of a situation that made you feel uncomfortable, not easy, a bit restless, right? Challenged. You told me of those things. So we spoke of imperfections. And it is in dealing with these imperfections that we realize what the response would be. And the response comes on its own. Did I know this question is going to be asked? Not really. Did I know that this thing would just pop up in between? Not really. From where do I respond then? Just by seeing how things are. You look at things how they are, and then something happens. And you have to have trust. You have to have trust. Once I know how things are, then whatever I do would be better than what has been done till now. All that which has brought things to the mess that they currently are, I'll be doing better than that once I know the facts, the bare, naked, honest facts.
Sir, I have a doubt. Like, sometimes we wake up in the morning and we imagine that I could have done something better like yesterday or something. So, like when we start doing that thing, so we imagine that the other person, what he is doing is more appropriate or that is more correct.
You see, you obviously can look at the other person, you can look at benchmarks. But all that has to be used just as a tool to look better at yourself. I'm asking you, when you glance at a mirror, is it the mirror that you want to see? But then everybody is found looking at mirrors. You're so fond of mirrors, are you? Are mirrors beautiful in themselves? So, all things have to be used as mirrors. Not because those things really contain something valuable to be seen, but because those things can reflect you back to yourself. You can see your own real situation via those things, using those things. So you just can't understand where you're going wrong. Let's say a dance step, or you're solving a differential equation, something. So you look at the other one, that's fine. Comparison is fine. But comparison is not fine if you want to become like the other. Comparison is fine if comparison tells you where you stand. That is fine then. Then comparison is acting as a mirror, which is fine. Which is fine.
So I want to add on to that question. I feel most of us strive for perfection, and in that road, we often seek external validation. Like, even if we say we don't want external validation, we are doing it for ourselves. There's this part of us that would love it if somebody compliments us, tell us we did great. Now, you said imperfection is a very humane thing to have. Is this seeking external validation also a humane thing to have, or is this something negative that we should remove?
See, when you say humane, you could either mean the socially conditioned human being, or you could mean the natural, free, beautiful human being. Seeking validation from others is not really your natural state, right? It comes from social conditioning. Comes from social conditioning. If I want to control you all, right? I would say, you are my assessment of who you are, which means I'll dictate who you are. And I'll call you all by certain, let's say, numbers on a scale of 100. So you're 78, you're 64, you are 81, you are 92, just 54. And you, I don't like you at all, 31. So that's how you'll be addressed. That's how you'll be addressed. Those numbers will become now your identities, right? You will carry them as your descriptions of who you are. I'm 31, I'm 91. I'm 31, I'm 91. You say you are 31, but who assigned this number 31 to you? I did, somebody outside of you, right? That's how the society handles the kid. The kid, the schoolgoer, the student, the college student, the university student. We will decide who you are. If we say you are 31, then you better accept you are 31. Not only should you accept that you are 31, you identify with 31. You introduce yourself as 31. If I say you are valuable, then you are valuable. You can imbibe that. If I say you are valuable, then you are valuable. Let 4 people say, oh, you are pretty, and you say I'm pretty. Otherwise, is there any objective standard for prettiness? Please tell me. It's just so social. Oh, he's a wonderful person. How do you know somebody is wonderful? Because 4 others have been calling him wonderful, and he has been trained that you are what others describe you as. So that's the point from where this need for validation arises. It's an implanted need. It's an artificial need. If you look at very small kids, their need for validation is very small, just as small as they are. A part of the need for validation is biological as well, but that's a very small part, very, very small part. Extremely small part. The overwhelming need comes from your social upbringing. I must be respected by others. And if they respect me, then my name is Mr. Respectable. And nothing changes within me. But if they withdraw their respect, then I am no more Mr. Respectable. So society has then the power to change who you are. You're not even a puppet. At least a puppet, if it is dropped, maintains some degree of individual existence still. You're a figment, you're a bubble. You're a bubble blown by society. And they tell you who you are, they tell you who you are not. I'll ask you a simple question. Had you not been told what to do? And this is a question for everybody here. Had you not been told what to do, would you have done even one of the things that you currently do? Think of it. And by currently, I don't mean just this moment. I mean this life. Right from childhood till today, whatever have you done, has that not come from an external point? Imagine there was nobody to tell you to lead life like this. Would you have still led life the way you currently do? No. So all these things we put so much effort and time into, things that are so intimate to us, even they are socially dictated. Think of it. No one tells you to wear clothes like this. Would you still wear the same clothes, or would you rather than try to be creative, try to be more of yourself? Nobody tells you to take particular kind of education or a particular course or a particular career. Would you still go in that stream? Unlikely. Very unlikely. Nobody came and told you that the institution of marriage exists. Would you still marry? Very unlikely. So all these things that we do are all socially dictated, right? And they cannot dictate you unless they have an inner hook. There has to be something within you that corresponds to their directions. Getting it? Just having a remote control does not suffice. There has to be something within the machine that follows the control. So the society handles the control remotely. But to make it work, it implants a chip inside you without your consent. So they control you from outside and they don't even tell you that they are controlling you. You feel you are doing it on your own. You feel this is my wish, this is what I want. No. Most of that which we want is something we have been made to want. We don't want it. We have been told to want it. And if you go against that, then you might be outcasted, ostracized, invalidated, condemned. And that will work on you because you have been told that if you are condemned, then you stand condemned. Otherwise, somebody can come and condemn you and you can say, two hoots to you. How does your condemnation matter? I know who I am. I know who I am. And that's the worst kind of injustice we can inflict upon the young one, the kid and then the student, to deprive him or her of an internal locus of control, to make a young person look at herself through others' eyes. I don't have eyes that can directly look at myself, so how do I look at myself? In a second-handed way. I look at your eyes, and the impression I see there is what I make of myself. Why can't I look directly at myself? Once you start doing that, the need for validation, which is actually a great kind of slavery, that need then reduces.
Sir, I don't think I understood the question properly. So, because I am very fragile to the society telling me how to exactly feel, and it's very natural for a human to exactly do what the society wants. That's what you said, right? Should you oppose this? Should you consciously oppose the need for the society to control me in order to feel the need to come down?
I just missed your name. Kathan. Kathan says it's very natural for a human to do exactly as the society tells him to do. Kathan, then you have a very unnatural being sitting in front of you. If we do something, we start calling it natural. It might be normal. It's not natural. Now, norm is something that the society can dictate. Norm basically is a statistical thing, just like mean, median, etc. If most people are doing something, that becomes the norm there at that point, at that place, in that moment. Right? That's the norm there. In a hospital, sickness is the norm. It is normal to find sick people in hospitals. In a mental asylum, insanity is the norm. Being normal is one thing. Natural is another thing. You cannot say people are naturally sick. No. Yes, you can have a situation, a bad situation in which a lot of people behave in outrageous ways, and then that becomes the normal there, statistically the normal there. Normal is statistical. Natural is internal. These two are very different things. So, if you have come to a point where you are affected greatly by how people think of you, then you need to ask yourself, what do I really get by following others' wishes, commands, opinions? What do I really get? Also ask yourself, what is it that they can really take away from me if I do not live as they do or as they command? That's the question you need to ask. Because your nature is freedom. And the result, the objective of the whole field of wisdom is liberation, which is nothing but internal freedom. And if you have been made to believe that a lot in your life depends on external situations, that is a lie, and you must call it out. As long as you do not investigate that lie, you will keep believing in it. Don't we all have a great inner fear? I'll come to you now. That if I don't do what others do, great harm will come to me, right? That great fear is there. I'm saying that fear is a lie. It stands there just as a blabbering threat, a very hollow threat. If there is something that others can actually take away, it was anyway not worth it. Let it go. Let it go. And anyway, what others have given will always remain something alien, something foreign, something borrowed with you. You'll never have complete ownership or complete oneness with it because it has come from somewhere else. Whatever comes from outside can always slip back to where it came from. It can never become totally yours. The good news is you don't need to make any of those external things totally yours. You are all right as you are. You're all right. Yes, in practical life, we do require things supplied by others, which is fine in a practical sense, not in an inner sense. Not in an inner sense. For purposes of day-to-day movement, transaction, social life, yes, you will depend on things that come from others, like public transport. Or even if you have your own car that has to travel on a public road. So you are dependent in many sense on things given by others, which is fine. Let all that remain at the periphery of your being. Internally, you must never identify with anything that others have given you. Otherwise, you'll be very, very afraid. And you'll be controlled. And you'll be enslaved. As young people, do you like to be enslaved? Yes, how many of you? You see, that's what we call as nature. I didn't tell you that freedom is beautiful. But the moment I ask you, do you love to be controlled or enslaved? Not one person raises hand. That's nature. That's nature. Nature is freedom. Even animals do not like to be caged. That's your nature. And that's the reason when you have to be punished, you are put in a small cell. But that's a smaller punishment because that is confining you only at the level of the body. What if the jail is inner, here? What if at the bodily level you are free to go anywhere, but inwardly you are not free to move? What if your very identity and all your thoughts have been encaged? Isn't that a more unfortunate prison? Yeah. So that has to be avoided. All prisons come with incentives. You don't need those incentives. Refuse them and be free.
Hi everyone. So I'm Madhavan. I'm from US. I live in Charlotte. So I've been listening to Acharya ji from probably last 2 years intensely on YouTube. I started 2.5 years ago. I joined Gita sessions 1 year ago. So I went through an intense, seeking phase, like from last 3 years, I would say, looking into different directions. Couldn't find like what I really wanted, but I know that there was Acharya ji jaisa bolta hai, bechani wo to tha. So I was seeking multiple things. So some things I tried out, experimented, but finally what I understood is that all the other spiritual practices which we generally talk about, like generally that is framed about, they are very much misinterpreted. As Acharya ji says, Acharya ji's teachings have really helped us, and to overcome and not fall in the trap, right? So I started reading his books too and other videos. So this is where books really help, guys. I mean, Acharya ji has books on topics like ego, Maya, right? And then when we go through these books, right, it gives a better knowledge about these things, and actually we don't fall into like some delusional traps or tricks when people take up big words and big make discussions on that.